What's up, Team Cat Mojo? It is your cat daddy, Jackson Galaxy. If you've been watching me for any length of time, you've heard me talk about TNR, Trap-Neuter-Return. And if you haven't, it is the only humane way to help manage community cat populations. It's also a great way to help reduce the amount of community cats that are killed in animal shelters every year. Now, I go out to communities all the time, talk to people like you, and I hear the same thing all the time. I love cats. I love all cats. TNR, it's a little intimidating. I don't know how to set a trap. I don't know what I do when I get out there, and I don't know what to do with the cats after they've been neutered. We, here at the Foundation, are all about empowering you guys to do something. I know you love all cats. I know that's why you're watching right now, and I know you would do the right thing if you knew all the steps. Well, that's why we're here. Because we also know that if we just follow our hearts and just feed these cats, well, what's the next logical step? If we don't take it to the next place, if there are no resources in the community to help these guys otherwise, their population is just going to grow. That's bad for the cat, and it's bad for the community. So I called on a few friends of ours, and I figured, hey, these guys are the perfect team to help describe to you guys how easy and rewarding TNR can be. So once you watch these guys, I know you'll be totally ready to get your TNR on and celebrate National Feral Cat Day the right way, doing something. So, Cole, Marmalade, take it away and show these guys something.
Just like Jackson said, trapping feral cats and getting them spayed or neutered really is the best way to make a big difference, and if I can show you the process with help from Cole and Marmalade, hopefully it will encourage anyone else out there to get a hold of some traps and do your part to help control feral cat numbers. So I'm going to run through what you'll need to successfully trap cats and also how to set up a suitable recovery area for them as well. First things first, you'll need to check with your local clinic that provides TNR surgery about how they handle appointments. They can all be different, so make sure you have the right days and times that the services are available before you trap any cats. To find your local spay and neuter clinic, just search online using the word spay, neuter, and then enter your zip code. Obviously you'll need a live trap, or several depending on the situation. You can purchase your own traps or ask to borrow some from a local rescue. If you're borrowing a trap, ask if they have a trap divider you can borrow too, or you can purchase them. They're not that expensive and they're not absolutely necessary. You can trap without them. There's lots of different traps and brands out there, but they all have similar mechanisms, so whatever traps you end up getting your hands on should be fine. You'll need bait for the traps, canned cat food or tuna usually works best, newspaper, paper plates, a shower curtain or tarp, a few towels or blankets, puppy pads and tape. But most of all, you'll need patience. Trapping can be time consuming, so it's important to stay calm and stick to your plan. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate how to set up two different kinds of traps. First of all, I'm going to start with a tomahawk trap. This is the front of the trap where the cats enter, and this is the back where they can easily be released. To set this trap, you simply push this spring-loaded part down on the door, and while we keep pressure on it and it's folded down, lift the door. If you follow this rod down, you'll see it's attached to the trip plate. To set the trip plate needs to be up, so pull the rod towards you to do this. As you do this, you'll see the trigger bar at the top move with it, so you just need to latch the door on the trigger bar and it remains open and the trip plate remains up. And that's basically how to set this trap. It's pretty easy, right? So now I'm going to show you how to set up a true catch trap. These traps are a little different. When these rings on both sides of the door are down, the door can't be opened. So simply slide them up and lift the door open. Then you'll see that the rod, just like the last trap, is attached to the trip plate. But this time it's attached with a little chain and the trigger bar's here. To set the trap, you rotate the trigger bar, which pulls up the trip plate, and then bring the door down so it rests on it. The weight of the door keeps it in place until pressure is put on the trip plate, then the trigger bar drops and along with it the door, trapping the cat inside. So now you know how to set the traps, we need to work on how to make them more appealing for cats to venture in there. And what's the favourite time of day for your cats at home? You've got it, it's feeding time. And feral cats are even more food motivated. So now you get your can of cat food, put some on a paper plate, then place it at the end of the trap beyond the trip plate. Be sure to save the tins for later. This trap has a rear door, so I can use that to access more easily. However, some don't, which can make it more tricky. Then take some of your newspaper, line the bottom of the trap and cover the trip plate too. This disguises everything and makes it more comfortable underfoot for the cats. Most importantly, make sure nothing's obstructing the plate from moving, because it sucks to do all this, have the cat in the trap eating the food, and then the trap doesn't spring closed because a piece of newspaper or cardboard is wedged under the trip plate or something silly like that. And if your trap does have a rear door, double check that you re-secured it in place with the clip. So the trap is set and baited. Now all you need is a feral cat to come along and investigate. This is where Marmalade's stunt double takes over, and I can show you how the trap works. And I'll go outside for this part so I don't scare Cole or Marmalade. Just reset the trap, lift the door, rotate the trigger bar, and rest the door on it. Okay, so let's wait and see if a cat comes along to investigate the food. Success! We have a cat in a trap. As soon as you trap a cat, you want to cover it with a towel or sheet as quickly as possible to help calm the cat down and make them feel safe. As you can see, if the cat tries to push from the inside, the door doesn't open, and the rear door is latched securely so it can't escape that way either. Now you have your traps and you know how to set them, it's time to make a recovery area. This can be in a spare room, bathroom or garage. The quieter the better. If you set it up in a garage, make sure you keep the temperature at a comfortable level, not too hot and not too cold. Feral cats in traps can get messy. They're obviously scared, having just been taken out of their environment, and they'll be recovering from surgery. They remain in these traps for a day or two after surgery, so you need to make sure you prep accordingly to keep the area relatively clean and to keep the cats as warm and comfortable as possible before they're released. First of all, start with a shower curtain or tarp and spread it out in the area you're using. Use tape to attach them a few feet up the walls in case the cats spray, then lay down a blanket or a few towels for insulation from the floor. Next up are the puppy pads. Lay these out in the area on top of the blanket. These will soak up any deposits the cats may make during their recovery period. So now we're completely ready to go out and trap some cats. When it comes to trapping cats, it's important to find the right spot. Cats are very secretive animals. So for example, if there's a colony you're trying to TNR living around a parking lot, you wouldn't place your traps in the middle of the lot where they're exposed. You'd place them around the perimeter in some nooks and more secluded areas. So just like you practiced at home, you set and bait your traps and then wait. Sometimes it helps to place a towel or sheet over the traps at this point too. As many of you know, cats can be very finicky when it comes to food, so you may have to try multiple different baits before you find something that works. You may also need to leave a trail of food leading up to the trap and inside that the cats can follow. And if you try every cat food you can think of to bait the trap and you still have no success, you can always try the trusty laser pointer as a last resort to get their attention and coax them in. Not many cats will fall for this, but it's a good idea to have one with you just in case. It's also your responsibility to monitor these traps while they're set, both for the safety and security of the cat and the security of the traps. Never leave them unattended and stay within visual or auditory range of the traps so you're ready to cover the trap and move it to your holding area once it shuts. Even if you partially cover the trap when setting it, you want to be close by to cover the rest of it, especially if the cat is upset and scaring any others from going into the traps themselves. Now you have cats in traps, it's time to head to the clinic for surgery. It's also a good idea to prep your vehicle as well. Once at the clinic, you'll hand off the cats and they'll be spayed or neutered, then ready for pickup later that day. When you return home with the cats, place them in the recovery area. Then it's time for a few adjustments. To do this, you want to move the cat to one side of the trap. Pulling the towel back halfway encourages them to stay in the shadows where they feel safer, which allows you to take your trap divider and place it angled back towards the cat, which helps hold it in place and make sure the divider is securely positioned. This isn't a totally foolproof tool, and cats can get past it if it isn't used properly. But once it's in place, you can safely open the trap, remove any newspaper to cut down on the mess later on. The puppy pads will provide adequate padding from the cage wire, and then provide them with food and water. You can use the empty cat food container from earlier as a makeshift water bowl, and a flat paper plate to slide the food into the trap through the access door if you open it a very small amount. When it comes to changing food and water, it can be difficult, especially if you haven't got a trap divider. So just use your best judgment when deciding how often to switch the food and water out. And if in doubt, check with the vet clinic. Do not just stick your hands into the traps. These cats are scared and will very likely strike out at you. Then make sure to recover the trap with the towel or bedsheet. This keeps the cats warm and makes them feel safe once again. Leave the end open for fresh air to enter and add more layers if it's cold. Twice a day you should lift the traps to switch out the puppy pads and clean up any mess they've made. Depending on their gender, the cats will need 24 to 48 hours to recover from their surgery. Your clinic can help you determine the recovery time and if they're recovering properly. Then, happy days, they're ready to be released back where they came from. Cue the feel-good music. Hopefully, with the three of us explaining how to do this, it made you more comfortable with traps and the basics of TNR. Of course, we didn't cover every little thing you might encounter. There's more info on the Best Friends Animal Society website to help with any situation, and you can also email the Jackson Galaxy Foundation with questions and they'll be happy to point you in the right direction. You can find all the links in the video description. Okay, I think our job here is done. I'm going to go feed Cole and Marmalade. Back to you, Jackson.
So, that's it. Now that you've seen Cole and Marmalade take us through the ins and outs of TNR, you can see how doable this is, folks, and it is. Now, I know there's a lot of you still sitting out there with thoughts swirling around your head. I can't do this, I can't. Yes, you can. But if you choose not to go out there and trap tonight, you can still help. You can help by donating to local TNR organizations in your community. Tell your friends to donate. Put the word out on social media. You can also help physically just by doing the incoming paperwork at a local spay and neuter clinic, just putting the newspaper in the traps for them. You can help by donating food to local community caregivers. You can do something, and let's not forget, every something that we do saves somebody. The math is that simple. And let's also remember something. As long as we all commit ourselves to not just feeding, but fixing as well, we'll get a handle on this problem. We will make an enormous difference in the life of every community cat. I just know it. So, special thanks to Cole and Marmalade, to their dad, Chris Poole, to Elizabeth at For All Animals, to showing us all how easy, and rewarding TNR can be. We can love the cats in our home, we can love the cats out there equally. Until the next time I see you guys, all light and all love and all feral cat mojo to you.